I'm Charles D'Angelo. You might have heard my story before, but for those who don't know me, I made a huge life transformation when I was 17 years old, and I mean huge. At that time, I weighed 360 pounds. I was unable to do the things that other people took for granted, from the smallest things like walking up 4 steps to my classroom, to life's bigger things like having a social life or going on a date. Night after night, I'd lie in bed praying to God, just hoping that something or someone would come along to help me. What I didn't realize was that God had already given me that someone, and that someone was me. So let me back up a bit. How did I get to such an unhealthy place at the tender young age of 15, 16, 17 years old, where I'd be so out of breath doing almost nothing, my heart racing, and a cold, clammy sweat breaking out all over me? I literally doubted I'd even make it to my high school graduation. The reason for this was I had a story I was telling myself. From an early age, I had this relentless, hateful narrator in my head, telling me all sorts of things about myself that I accepted blindly as truth. Maybe you have that type of narrator in your head, this inner critic. Do you have that voice, that dialogue that's constantly causing you to doubt yourself? If you had a childhood like I did, I was a well-behaved, quite introverted kid, maybe you can relate. I was taller than all the other kids, I was an excellent student, but I was really, really bad at sports. I spent my recesses reading, or I was in the school's music room teaching myself how to play piano to avoid bullying. And that definitely made me even more of a target. When your classmates and peers call you names and tell you negative things about yourself, even if you know it's not true, you start to believe it because you hear it so often. Through all of this, my mom was my greatest supporter. She was a great mom. She provided me with safety, with love, with encouragement, with comfort. But when I was 10, she developed an addiction to prescription painkillers, which ultimately led to her alcoholism. She went from being my best friend, my closest ally, to my worst enemy almost overnight. I'd come home from school to find her passed out. She chased me out of the house once with a knife. I could tell you all sorts of stories, but trust me, they're not pretty. I don't tell you this for sympathy. Far from it, in fact. I'm showing you these examples just so that you understand that these negative events shaped the story I had created for that narrator in my head. Maybe you've also encountered major upheaval, traumas, abuse early in your life, or maybe your narrator has a totally different source of material. But whatever you're telling yourself that's making you question your ability to succeed in whatever the transformation is you're wanting to make, I'm telling you the story that you're writing is not true. So, how did change happen? How did I lose 160 pounds, create a life that, I feel so fulfilled by? Well, when I was 17, I was laying there in bed, praying to God to send me someone or something to change my life. But I'd been there all along. All I needed to do was stop listening to that narrator in my head and write my own story, the one where I had the life I wanted. You might not be overweight. You might be struggling with something totally different. You might feel trapped in a situation that you don't even really want to be in. You might be feeling hopeless while you're watching this. You might feel like you've given it your all, that you're at the end of your rope and you just don't know where to go from here. If you're struggling and you've been waiting for a sign in order to make change happen, this moment is your sign. You don't need some magic formula to take your life to a new level. Like me, you're just going to need simple strategies to follow. Most of all, you're going to need to change your mindset, change your philosophy, which ultimately is going to allow you to change your story. You're going to have to become open to what's already around you, just waiting to help you, if you'll get to the place where you'll take that first courageous step. I don't really believe in the law of attraction, that if you think enough about something, it just magically shows up in your life. But if you'll notice, a major part of the word attraction is action. To become successful, whether it's physically or in your relationship or in your career or in any other way that you might be wanting to seek success, it's going to be the consequence of consistent action, even in the face of incredible adversity. For me, at 17 years old, 360 pounds, I took a good look at the people I wanted to be like, and I asked myself, what do they do? What are the choices they're making? The next thing I did was to get way, way out of my comfort zone, and I joined a gym. Especially given my history, when I was joining this gym, I was so scared that the people there were going to just laugh me out of the place. I would even wear long pants because I didn't want people to see my legs, but I just kept going in, day out, exercising, and having faith that things were going to change. It took a lot of courage, and it's going to take a lot of courage to get you to step outside of your comfort zone. But the great thing about courageous acts is this: they get easier as you do them. They get simpler as you do them. And what you need to know about courage isn't not being afraid. Courage is being afraid and doing what you're afraid of anyway. As an obese kid who knew absolutely nothing about healthy eating or exercise, I put myself in this really healthy environment. I allowed myself to be inspired by the people that were there around me instead of just being scared of them. An important part of transformation is putting yourself in an environment that's challenging you. What I ultimately found was that the people I was so afraid of weren't scary at all. In fact, they were really, really helpful. Virtually every one of us wants to share our knowledge. We want to have an impact that's positive on other people's lives, especially when the knowledge that we have is something we're passionate about. The people at the gym, they didn't only help me to learn how to work out and healthy ways to eat, but probably the most important thing that I learned from all of them, that success, what they had, wasn't a reflection of their history. It was a reflection of the discipline that they were willing to put forth day in and day out without fail. These people taught me that success comes from the choices we're making, not from our parents, not from what we were given, but from our choices. And when you realize that the only thing holding you back from the life you want are your choices, everything changes. So, to summarize this whole conversation, I want you to realize you're not trapped. Whatever situation you're in right now, you can change it. And I'm willing to give you the strategies to make that change if you're truly willing to do so. The principle I want you to take from today's entire message is this. Tap into your personal courage. Reach beyond your comfort zone. Find and immerse yourself in an environment that has the type of people and influences that will serve to inspire you to become more than you presently are.